Hey everybody, just a real quick reminder that Team Hood shirts are on sale until the 16th of March. There's a great variety of different shirts to choose from, so just check out the store. My personal favorite is the long sleeve shirt with a Team Skull-esque design going down each sleeve. The link to this is on screen and in the description. Let's just cut to the chase of the video title. Probably not. But I do want to go over in this video reasons why people believe that we could potentially visit Kalos in Pokemon Sword and Shield, throw in my own opinions and kind of come to a conclusion if it's realistic. But like I said right at the very beginning there, probably not. But we're going to explain why. So just listen to what I've got to say. So being real, X and Y felt very unfinished. They kind of just moved on to Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, then Sun and Moon. A lot of us expected a Pokemon Z to kind of tie everything together, but we never got that. And I mean, honestly, I guess I'm kind of glad we didn't, because I guess we'd be like, honestly, you know what? No, I would take a Pokemon Z over Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon any day. That being said though, I guess it was nice for a change not to just get a third version of a game, because we've always gotten a third version. But in that same breath, it just kind of left them poorly implementing legendaries and leaving things untouched in Kalos. And I don't know, I think Kalos is one of the most beautiful regions we've been to. It's just a lot of unanswered questions, like that train, where does that train go? The ghost girl, what's she all about? Hoopa, I guess he was kind of thrown into Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Volcanion, that area in the desert thing, is that Volcanion? Diancie was poorly implemented. Zygarde, the literal third legendary of Kalos, the main third legendary, what the face of Pokemon Z, he was just thrown into Sun and Moon as a random collectible throughout the. It was just bad, and I'm really disappointed. And I think closure for X and Y is something that a lot of fans do want. So I feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility for Game Freak to take that on board and to try and, I guess, complete. Like, some mysteries are cool, right? If we never find out what happens to the ghost girl, I'm not gonna stress. But like, can we seriously, like, what's going on with all these, like what's with the legendary? I don't know. The legendary implementation was very, very bad. Another reason why people probably would like this to happen is because just look at HeartGold Soul Silver. HeartGold Soul Silver is probably, I think, most Pokemon fans' favorite game. It's a beloved game. It's one of the favorites that I hear a lot. Not only because Pokemon are following you, but of course because it stayed true to Gold and Silver and allowed you to visit Kanto. You had a whole other region to explore, and I just thought that was amazing. And a lot of people have been commenting on how linear the Galar region looks. And if that is true, then visiting Kalos would, add some length to the game, I guess. But I personally don't think the games look very small, so I guess adding Kalos would literally, I think it should be a post-game thing. And hey, even if they don't add the entire Kalos region, like I highly doubt they would add the entire Kalos region, even if it is just to visit Lumiose, I think a lot of people would be very happy with that alone. Just, getting to visit a city of a previous Pokemon game. Like I think that's something a lot of the people want, and I know Game Freak don't, typically listen to fans' ideas, but I think recently we've seen that they do sometimes listen. So I don't know. This is a tough topic, but now I've explained kind of why this is something that people would want. Let's talk about, I guess, the connection between the two. For those that don't know, I feel like it should be pretty obvious, but hey, may as well put everything together rather than assuming So the biggest link is that, of course, the Galar region is based on the United Kingdom or Great Britain or whatever, England, Scotland. It's there. And Kalos is based off of France. In real life, there's a train called the Eurostar, and you can get on that train to visit France. I can get a train to France right now if I wanted to. I don't need to fly, I can literally get a train. And one big thing you might notice about the Galar region is that there's trains. It's quite heavily featured there. And yeah, there has been trains in previous Pokemon games. There's a train in Kanto and a train in Johto. And now saying that out loud, I don't know. To me, it would just make sense if we got on the train to Kalos. Rather than just talking about it, I thought we would take a proper look. This is Kalaude Station. And there is a mystery train in this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and scan my pass. I realize I should probably put my camera up here. It's gonna go back to Lumios. This is a train that takes you from Lumios to Calaude, obviously. Calaude isn't actually where you first get the train. And that also leads me to talk about, there's some rumors going around that apparently there might be, the map that we got isn't the full map, it's just a promo, and that there is an extra region that we can visit. So while we might not be able to visit Kalos specifically, I think the trains might also take us somewhere else. So I figured that would be cool to mention. It should be someplace right around here, right? And I think this is the train that everybody are like, this mystery train. So in real life, I just looked it up. The world's fastest train is actually at 267 miles per hour. So the Pokemon world has got some explaining to do. Why do Pokemon get faster trains than us? The trains are completely different from the subways we have in the Unova region. That's so cool that they referenced that. Should be someplace right around here, right? I guess this is where the mystery train's meant to be. And I don't know, it feels like it could just be a massive coincidence, obviously, but it feels like they were saving this for something. And if they're saving this for these games, you know, because Pokemon have a track record of taking stuff from the past, kind of bringing it forward. Like, obviously, the Muna, you know, that girl was talking about, like, oh, I want a pink floral Pokemon. Then 5 generations later, we get Muna. Then Gastrodon was also meant to be in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, but then it wasn't until Diamond and Pearl, because it just didn't really fit in the environment. So, I believe anything's possible. Oh, wait, what's this? Like, just riding around Lumios here, man. I think it would be so cool to, I guess, to visit this in Generation 8, you know, just seeing it upscaled. I wouldn't be too bothered if it was just Lumios we got, because I imagine, you know, redoing a whole region would be quite a lot of ask. So, you know, I think Lumios is quite acceptable, because there's not really any wild encounters here or anything either. And there's also a rumor going around, actually, of there being Mega Evolutions, and if that were the case, you know, if they added new Mega Evolutions to Gen 8, then this is literally the perfect place for them to introduce that, I guess. Now, right here, we have this little, you know, where you go in Rhyhorn, you have to come over here to the Glittering Cave. You know, we have something like that in the trailer of Sword and Shield. So that also links Kalos and Galar. I mean, obviously, you know, games are allowed to share, you know, because you could also argue that the Snow Point City in Sinnoh also links them because there's a snowy area. So, you know, it could just be a very minute, you know, point, but I don't know. I just think the fact that they're both set in Europe and they've both got this, like, they've both got a pretty big emphasis on trains. Right, okay, yeah, here it is. So if you come in here, you can see this place. It's like you know, an underground mine, and there's literally that in the trailer. I can show like footage of it. There's literally like this sort of place. So that's another thing to me that links Sword and Shield with X and Y, and it's one of the reasons why I'm like, maybe. And finally, there is one more tiny thing that you can kind of maybe say it's a link. Sword and Shield have the same colored logos as X and Y. Obviously, Ruby and Sapphire, Red and Blue, you know, they have the same colors as well. But I don't know, there's just quite a bit here that kind of links the two games together. And you know what, maybe they'll just be making references to each other. Maybe they'll just be making callbacks to Kalos. And if that's the case, that's cool too. Like I said at the very start of this video, I don't think we're going to be visiting Kalos, but the possibility is still there to me, you know. If it does happen, I'll be pretty happy. But with all that being said, why wouldn't we visit Kalos, you know? Like, I think I've presented a pretty good argument as to why we should. The links between the games, there's probably a few more links that I completely forgot about. But why wouldn't it happen? While the Kalos games are 3D games, you know, you would assume, oh wait, they're 3D. That means they don't have to do much work, and you know, they can just upscale it, and boom, there you go. They can just put that in Sword and Shield, done. The scaling isn't quite the same. If you remember X and Y, they had the bobbleheads, and then immediately over to Sun and Moon, we have now realistic human proportions. Personally, I prefer the bobbleheads, but that's besides the point. The scaling of just the games in general, while they are both 3D, the scaling is just completely different. So, from my understanding of game development, I could be wrong, but I think they would just have to build from the ground up. If they wanted to add Kalos to the game, they would have to start over. Now, since the game is 3D, I imagine it would be easier to do because you already have references of what each individual thing looks like in 3D. You know, you wouldn't have to reimagine it, you know, from a 2D sprite. But I still imagine it would be a lot of work, and I don't expect them to do that, to be honest. And on that same note, I've seen a lot of people talk about how Pokemon have become lazy, considering they're the highest grossing
media franchise.
But what you need to understand with that is, there's more to Pokemon than the games. There's the anime, the TCG, there's toys, they sell clothes, they did cereal at one point. Like, Pokemon took over the world. And while the games are massive, they're developed by Game Freak, which isn't as big of a company as you would assume. According to Wikipedia, as of 2019, Game Freak only has 227 employees, versus the likes of Activision that have 4,000 employees. Now, Activision produce a whole bunch of different games, so I'm assuming that's why they've got such, you know, they've got a lot of people working there. But still, you know, it's a pretty big difference. It's 20 times bigger than Game Freak. Honestly, I just thought that was something important to point out. Game Freak isn't a massive video game company. Regardless if we visit Kalos, or if we visit Lumios, or if we don't visit that region at all, and it is literally just the Galar region we're in, I think this game, Sword and Shield, is going to be great. And I can't wait to share my experience of these games with you guys as well. So to kind of wrap up this video, I don't think we're going to be visiting Kalos, but there's a lot to maybe, you know, hint towards that maybe we will. And if we do visit Kalos, I want more than just Lucre missions. I would really appreciate some proper, you know, post-game, like a Z episode. You know, if they were to end up, you know, there's a rumor going around right now that Charizard is going to get a Z item, Charizardite Z. You know, if Mega Evolution's coming back and they're going to give Mega Evolution to some Pokemon, Kalos would be the perfect place to implement that. But yeah, take everything in this video as a grain of salt, you know? It could all just be coincidences, you know? Pokemon like to link their games together, and that's cool. You know, just because, you know, Sword and Shield have the same colored logos as X and Y doesn't mean we're going back to X and Y, you know? It's never been like that. But my favorite thing ever is talking about Pokemon and exploring possibilities with you guys, so I figured I'd just share this all this information with you and let you come to your own conclusion. Do you think we should go back to Kalos? Do you want to go back to Kalos? Do you think we will go back to Kalos? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.